this whole thing.
I'll let you play through with it. You shoot everything with your phone. You see Maverick?
Yes, I have.
I'm there with my son and my wife.
Yeah.
I said, dude, there's like Star Wars. When they see the plane, they're like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
It
was pretty much like the whole.
And stuff.
Yeah,
She had to hide in there to stay
yeah,
warm.
yeah.
And kids love that. Parents love that. Teachers. Hi. After watching that interview.
Three, two, one.
Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Welcome to KSAT News Now. We're streaming and podcasting daily right here from the KSAT 12 newsroom. How you doing this morning, Alicia?
Doing okay.
Yeah. Doing
How are
all right.
you?
Doing okay. It's been a very busy morning.
Yeah.
As we try and figure out, what the show. We have a lot going on this morning with this show, as obviously there's a lot of different things to get into, and that includes, of course, the largest trial for a shorter work week that is now underway. So this is a pretty interesting story.
Don't get excited. It's not happening here.
Yeah.
Not
anytime
here.
soon, maybe. Yeah, but we will talk about
Maybe
this.
we can move over there.
Yeah.
Test it out for them.
Yeah.
Also, how would you feel if you went to a wedding? We all love weddings, but the couple decided to ditch the food for other guests.
Yes. Yeah, this is a story that I guess I saw a headline where it says the internet is losing its mind over this story, especially it's circulated on social media.
Yeah.
Plus this morning, a Texas lawmaker trying to ban minors from attending certain shows. So this is a controversial topic that we will talk about in just a bit.
Yeah, but first we want to start with a new chilling interview with ABC from a teacher who survived the shooting at Robb Elementary School. Arnulfo Reyes, he's the teacher. He's a fourth grade teacher, was in room 111, and he's speaking out about what he witnessed. The shooter went into his classroom after firing a shot inside the room 112 next door, and we want to warn you, it can be triggering. It is hard to listen to, but it is so important.
The kids started asking out loud, Mr. Reyes, what is going on? And I said, I don't know what's going on, but let's go ahead and get under the table. Get under the table and act like you're asleep. I turned around and saw him standing there. One of the students from the next door classroom was saying, "Officer, we're in here. We're in here." And then, but they had already left. And then he got up from behind my desk, and he walked over there and he shot over there again. I lost 11 that day. It all happened too fast. Training, no training, all kinds of training. Nothing gets you ready for this.
And you just hear the shaking in his voice. And, you know, I was warned by our producer that this was heavy and this was hard to listen to. And it is. It's heartbreaking, to say the least. I mean, like he said, every family, all of these 21 families are mourning the loss of their loved ones. And this teacher, Mr. Reyes, mourning the loss of his 11 students.
Absolutely. We've seen, you know, the bond that teachers have with their students, and this is heartbreaking. It's horrifying to think of these moments that not only Mr. Reyes and his students were going through in that very moment. And you know, throughout the investigation, we've heard that there were children that even called 911 to plead for police to go in, to go try and rescue them, to go try and save them. So to hear it from an individual who was in the room is absolutely devastating stuff to hear, for sure.
And again, all 11 kids inside Reyes' classroom were killed. Reyes was shot twice and has since been released from the hospital. And this is a teacher who, again, he mentioned, and we want to be clear, when he was talking about it doesn't matter all the training that you can do, he had been teaching for 17 years. And he talks about that Robb Elementary did have a good training plan, if you will, for these active shooter cases. But he says nothing could ever prepare you for what he saw and what he lived and these children lived 2 weeks ago today.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't even imagine what's going through their mind in that moment there, except just to protect their kids. And as we said, he's been teaching for a long time. He obviously is saying feels that he can never return to a classroom. Absolutely understandable. But he said he wants to make it his mission to honor the lives of his students and, of course, two of his fellow teachers. And that had been kind of a question that I had been asking myself, because we had heard about, obviously, Mrs. Garcia and Mrs. Mireles, who were in the other classroom. I was thinking about the other teacher too, and I hadn't heard anything. To see in this interview like this and to hear his account, again, is absolutely devastating to think about those moments there.
And another one of those children will be laid to rest today. We know that the funeral for Javier James Lopez is taking place this morning, and his family wrote in his obituary that Javier loved playing baseball and was on the team called the Blue Jays. He was part of a large family and is survived by his mom, his dad, his brothers, and his sisters. Yeah,
definitely. As we continue to see the services for all of these young lives that have been lost, the father of another victim, this is Amory Joe Garza, is vowing to not let his daughter's death be in vain. Her father, Alfred Garza, and his lawyers sent a letter to a company called Daniel Defense to demand information on their marketing to teens and children. So that is the company that makes AR-15s, the assault rifle that authorities said was used in that shooting at Robb Elementary.
We can't just say, oh, this happened and just sweep it down the rug. No, something has to change. I don't want my daughter's name tarnished by just how she died. I prefer to remember how she lived.
So the father Garza promises to make that information public. And the Girl Scouts of Southwest Texas had actually awarded Amory the Bronze Cross, and this was, I believe, the day before her funeral that they honored her in this way, posting on Twitter that she did all she could to save the lives of her classmates and teachers. And that the Bronze Cross award, or the badge, that one's rare, right? And it's for a person, a Girl Scout, who would give their life to save another. And that's what Amory did. She was one of the little girls who called 911, and unfortunately she did die.
Yeah, So we are now hearing more accounts. We obviously heard from the teacher there, and we're hearing more from the victims' families as well. As you kind of figured that, I mean, just must be gut-wrenching to, talk about this at any moment. But we're now hearing more from the families, learning more about these children as they continue to be laid to rest and these funerals continue to take place. And again, this individual here, Mr. Garza, trying to keep his daughter's name alive and, really kind of get some accountability from some of the gun makers here. So that was part of that story we did. Lee Waldman was there in Uvalde and did that story.
Yeah,
so.
and tomorrow at 9 a.m. is when there's going to be a session in D.C. to speak on this issue once again. And Lee Waldman, our reporter here, she's actually headed there now.
Yeah.
She's headed with photojournalist Dale, and they're going to be bringing us the latest on that.
Yeah.
And again, some parents and a survivor, a child, will be speaking out on this and the change that they want to see happen here,
Right.
not just in Texas, but across the nation, so no other community has to see this again.
Yeah, still a lot of things that need to be figured out. And of course, the healing continues. And in Uvalde this morning, the Uvalde Together Resiliency Center is now officially opening as the community continues to grieve there. So this center is located in the Uvalde County Fairplex, and that is at 215 Veterans Lane.
The center will provide important centralized resources, including counseling, as well as victims' financial compensation for those who qualify. That's actually something that I've been wondering about, because there are these official funds that have been verified. The first one was with the school district. We know other big celebrities like Matthew McConaughey and his foundation. So it'll be good to see that these families will be able to receive the help that they need.
Absolutely. So the center is open to any member of the Uvalde community who has been affected by this tragedy, and it will be open daily from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. and all services will be offered in English and Spanish.
So again, you can count on KSAT to bring you the latest with the developments in the city of Uvalde and learning more about these victims and what happens next. But we want to move on to another big piece of news, and we saw this play out earlier last month. So following the family murder in Centerville last week at the hands of that escaped inmate, Gonzalo Lopez, well, the Texas Department of Criminal Justice is putting a pause indefinitely on the transport of inmates.
Yeah, this was a huge story across the state. So this to review the procedures for transportation. And if you remember that Lopez had escaped custody last month on a prison bus that was transporting inmates from Gatesville to Huntsville for medical appointments.
So currently the department only requires 2 officers on the bus, but it does not require a trailing car behind, and that could change. But after this escape, additional security measures could be implemented.
The department said it will also bring an outside firm to carry out an independent review to identify what other factors led to Lopez escaping the bus. And again, Lopez killed Mark Collins and 4 of his grandchildren hours before dying in a shootout. And this was after a chase with police south of San Antonio.
All right, so June marks Pride Month, a time for the nation to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community. It's a happy time, and Pride Month celebrates the 1969 Stonewall Uprising in Manhattan, which is considered to be the tipping point for the gay liberation movement here in the U.S.
Yeah, but not everyone here is celebrating here. So instead of celebrating, a Texas state representative tweeted that he will be filing legislation to ban minors from attending drag shows. Representative Brian Slayton said, quote, "Drag shows are no place for a child," end quote.
All right, so this comes after a Dallas bar, and Dallas has a huge Pride celebration. Well, one of the bars there hosted an event over the weekend called Drag the Kids to Pride. So videos of the family-friendly event were posted on social media, but some were very upset, and others actually showed up on Saturday at the bar to protest.
Right. Slayton, who represents counties in East Texas, released a statement that says, in part, quote, "The events of this past weekend were horrifying and show a disturbing trend in which perverted adults are obsessed with sexualizing young children," end quote.
So reading his statement there was just shocking because, again, Pride Month is a time to celebrate the LGBTQ plus community, and to hear a lawmaker say that this is horrifying and
it's very strong
describing
verbiage to
those who dress in drag
right.
as perverted adults is just,
Yeah.
So of course this is given a lot to talk about, and I just think this comes at a very inappropriate time when Texas is dealing with actual issues. Again, we go back to what happened in Uvalde, and this is the focus. But
Right, and you think about just with everything when it comes to the trans children debate that's been in schools. We saw that over this past months, and really kind of this idea that the LGBTQ plus community has been sort of minimalized. I don't know, it feels like they're being alienated, and to continue to hear these words come out of state lawmakers, you know, is very difficult to understand. Obviously everyone has their opinions on these things.
yeah, but I think when someone at that level, it's discriminatory.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, definitely.
All right, so we talked about the 4-day weekend.
4-day weekend, yes.
Again, it's not happening
Someone's
here,
doing it.
but thousands of workers in the UK are starting a 4-day work week with no cut to their pay. It's the largest trial of its kind.
All right, so check this out. So this pilot program will last for about 6 months, and it involves 3,300 workers and 70 companies. And we're talking about all kinds of companies here, ranging from financial services to different firms to also restaurants.
All right, so during the program, workers receive 100% of their pay for working only 80% of their usual week in exchange for
This is big.
promising to maintain 100% of their productivity. I think it
Gotta
can be
keep
done.
that. Yeah, I think they got to keep that productivity up, obviously. And the goal of the trial, obviously, also is to improve the mental health and well-being of employees. So we have seen that as people have sort of gone through the pandemic, there's been more people working from home, remotely. And I think in general, that's maybe helped some people out as
Yeah.
far as you're not dealing with so much stress of maybe having to go to an office. But this is something pretty interesting here.
I mean, I think it would work because I think about it, this work week is short for me, and I'm 100%
You're good?
productive. And I remember in school when you knew that you were
Yeah.
going to have early dismissal,
Yeah.
that's what you were looking forward to, and you were working really hard to get your homework done, study for test
What?
quizzes, whatever you
You never
had.
got senioritis?
Yeah, that's different. I mean, I feel like with senioritis, you have to complete your workload weeks in
Right,
advance.
yeah, get it done
So
as
it's
soon as
different.
possible.
It's
Yeah,
different.
yeah. So we will see how this trial works out. Apparently, Iceland has been doing this for a couple of years now, where they've done like a shortened work week, and we know that it's been something that's been proposed in different places, different countries. I do have some friends that do work shorter work weeks, but they still work the same hours.
Yeah,
So
longer
the four,
days.
What is it? 4 10-hour days.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
Instead
would
of
do
4.
that.
Yeah. Oh, me too.
I mean, we
Do
kind of
that
already,
anyways.
both of us. All right, so we'll see.
Anyways,
Sarah
yeah.
Spivey, would you be down for a 4-day work week?
Oh yeah, but I don't know if it would fit the news environment
Yeah,
all
I
that
know.
well.
It
that's
feels
News
like
is
it's got-
24/7. Weather
Sick day
is
work weeks.
24/7 too. And guys, let me tell you, even though the weather has been fairly uniform and just hot, we've still got a lot to talk about because
brutal.
today will be the 8th day that we've seen 100 degrees in San Antonio. And I went ahead and compiled some data. So 100 degree days before June 10th, this year leads the pack. The most early 100 degree days on record. Close second, 1989, 6 days, but still, we are slated to have a very hot June on top of our hottest May ever. Showing you the satellite and radar right now, there's some thunderstorms riding on the northeast side of this upper level heat high, affecting Texarkana, but we are not going to see any of this rain because this heat high is going to compress the air, build in over Texas. Instead, what we've got is a heat advisory. A heat advisory today from 1 to 9 p.m. So the peak heating of the day is about 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., but it's still going to be hot before the peak heating and after the peak heating of the day. We're going to want to make sure to stay hydrated, stay inside when you can, especially between 1 to 9 p.m. Here's a look at today's forecast highs. Yesterday we got up to 104 degrees in San Antonio. Guess what? We'll be 2 degrees cooler than that. 102 for the high temperature today. It'll be 108 out west toward Del Rio and Eagle Pass. Again, kind of just laugh a little because of how hot it's going to be out there. 102 Port SA, 100 in Converse, 100 in New Braunfels, 103 in Castroville, 107 out west in Uvalde. Your KSAT 12-hour forecast, total sunshine, temperatures in the 90s for most of the afternoon, but by 3 p.m. that's when we'll see temperatures top off in the triple digits. 102 right around 5 p.m. and then into the evening, you know, we are going to have a breeze and it should be okay by about 10 o'clock. Temperatures are going to be in the 80s, but still a hot evening. The one saving grace today is our wind gusts, which will gust up to about 25 to 30 miles per hour. So at least we'll have some of that wind in the shade. But look at this forecast, guys. Over the next several days, we're going to add on to that triple digit tally. Oh my goodness. Yeah, this is setting up to be one of the hottest Junes that we've had so far on record. And our only hope for any kind of rain this summer, tropical systems, but that comes with its own set of issues, guys.
Thank you, Sarah. So yesterday we went to go cover a fire on the city's west side, and another focus that we had, you know, after learning that the families were okay, they were able to escape, was the firefighters, right? We're dealing with triple digit heat and they're all suited up, dealing with flames. And so we asked the chief, you know, what's it like for them right now? And, you know, their focus with the fire department is to making sure that they stay hydrated, because the worst thing that could happen is one of these firefighters to be dehydrated and have to be pulled out when they know this is a very hot and very busy week. So we're all experiencing it, right? Dealing with the own issues that the heat brings. But just to think about our firefighters and first responders in general.
Yeah, definitely. Because I know when I've covered fires in the past and it's been this hot that they've actually had like rotations where they had to
and that's exactly what happened yesterday.
Where they've had to bring in multiple units. So while it seems like there's a lot of units or fire engines responding to this, it's really just a way to keep them safe, to make sure that they're being rotated and hydrated properly as they fight the fire.
So yesterday there were more than 30 units at one point, and it was because it was a house fire that spilled over right to the other one, and so it affected 2 homes, but it was also because of that point that you just made. You know, they just need more personnel there to make sure that they're able to fulfill their entire shift, and you're talking 24 hours, so it's rough for them.
Oof, a lot of people dealing with this heat, so hopefully you guys stay cool out there in any way possible. Social media this morning, Alicia, in a little bit of a frenzy.
Yeah.
After a Reddit post that claimed a woman and her husband, get this, skipped catering for their wedding, all because of their love for Disney.
So they skipped probably one of the best parts of the wedding for Disney. And this has all caused many to trend on Twitter. So the bride shared on Reddit that her aunt started posting on Facebook about how disappointed she was. We all have that one Thea, right? Well, she was disappointed with the whole ordeal, and a few guests that sided with her.
Ooh, yeah. So this bride explained that the cost to have both Minnie and Mickey for 30 minutes was almost exactly what their parents gave them for their catering budget, which was around $5,500. So they scheduled an appearance during their first dance and then later for wedding photos. Now, she did add in this post that there were plenty of facilities at the venue where people could eat if they were interested in, you know, getting food.
Bring your own Happy Meal, you guys. Well, many people have been sharing screenshots of the post, questioning why the couple would opt for Disney entertainment instead of food. I mean, the couple, or that woman on the post, she did say that Disney means a lot for her and her marriage and their marriage. Very interesting there. So it has more than 2,000 comments. Some called the couple very selfish, and others just definitely agreed with the guests that this was just, I guess, kind of tacky.
Yeah.
So and let me tell you,
okay,
this appearance was the one at the wedding. We have here $2,700, right, for that 30-minute appearance.
Yeah, they did 2 of them.
They did 2 of them, because then they had a private lunch.
Their photos,
and photos with the actors, so it wasn't even in costume. I don't think it was. Anyways,
I
would
feel
you do
like
this?
Maybe.
This is a good question for you, because isn't your wife a big Disney fan?
She is, yeah. She would definitely do this. No. No, look, we food actually was kind of it was a priority. Not necessarily
At
for
your
us.
wedding?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, not necessarily for us, but for our guests for sure. But I feel like if anything, like you need to at least let these people know in maybe the invitation and be
Okay,
like, hey, guess
yes.
what? Food will not be provided.
Bring snacks.
Minnie and Mickey are going to be hitting up the weddings. So yeah, come already. Already full
Don't
stomach
come
or whatever.
hungry.
Yeah, don't come hungry for sure. This was kind of funny though. So you mentioned a lot of the comments here, and a lot of people sided with the guest. One person said, "Don't host a party if you can't take care of your guest." Okay.
I mean, I thought that was a
Did they
little
have
harsh
drinks?
because the party, I don't know, I always think the party's for the person or people in this case being celebrated, not for the guest. So I didn't
Exactly.
agree with that.
Well,
That's
they
a little
always say,
harsh.
yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? It should always be for the bride and groom. That's what a
Yeah,
wedding should be.
it's
It ends up
their
not
wedding,
really being
their
that
party.
the case at all. But anyways.
That's why they hired Mickey and Minnie.
Another comment here on Twitter said, imagine sitting at a table with no food watching two weirdos in costumes pose for pictures with Mickey and Minnie Mouse.
That was my favorite comment. So the weirdos are not Mickey and
Yeah.
Minnie, it's the bride and groom. Harsh.
Touche.
Harsh.
I know,
Harsh.
tough
Well,
deal
that was a
there.
good note to end on, you guys. We wish
Yeah.
you a very happy Thursday. Tuesday.
You just combine
combine it all.
Tuesday, Thursday, yeah.
We'll
all
see.
these days kind of run
RJ,
together.
RJ, we'll see you tomorrow. I'm
Yeah.
not here.
Definitely.
Have a good day. Bye, you
Have a
guys.
good one, everyone. Bye.